open! Yeah! Let me see this side. Okay.
Hi, it's Marco and Sara from Kanemo.
What accent is that? What accent is that? Who are you trying to be?
I don't know.
Say it again.
Hi, it's Marco and Sara from Kanemo.
I think you're allowed to do that because you're not from America. I can't do that. That would be not politically correct. You guys get away with so much. You Europeans. All right, so we're talking about build-ups right now and how important they are. So why are build-ups so important?
Because before the actual command for the sit down and stand, the emotion is very important. How the dog is in activity and what's the energy level and how motivated the dog is in the healing. If you have a wrong kind of emotion in your build-up, in your healing, it can affect on your dog's reaction on your command.
Okay, and then what about like the rhythm of the healing affecting the ability for the dog to technically perform the exercise?
That's for sure too. So some dogs who are very jumpy, for example, the healing before you give the command, it might be very difficult for the dog to show the proper technique for the sit down or stand, depending a little bit on the training previously. But yes, and also the picture, how the dog is doing the obedience, when the dog is keeping the same healing all the time.
That's what the judge wants to see.
Yeah, and I think everybody wants to see that.
Right. So anticipation is kind of a big thing. You want the right balance, I guess, between the dog anticipating and knowing what's coming so that they have a fast reaction as fast as possible, but then at the same time you don't want any noticeable signs of anticipating.
Yes.
So how many times do you perform the actual command as opposed to just working on the build-up, meaning the healing right before the command?
At the beginning of the career, when you are starting to do the sit down and stand from the motion, you are doing more repetitions for the sit down and stand. Eventually, when you are preparing to the trials and you are actually trying to handle the emotion of the dog, then mostly, at least in my case, it goes like this, that you start to do less actual sit down and stand. It's more the training, the build up, that when I'm sure that my dog has the right kind of emotion in the healing before the sit down and stand, I'm pretty sure that I have a right kind of reaction on the command as well.
Because you put your repetitions in.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's say like if you do 5 times sit in motion, maybe once from the 5 time, I do only the sit. But this all depends on the dog, of course.
And I find that really irritating because I want to work my motion. I want not emotion. I want to work the sit down or stand, and then I find myself working far more on the build up, which is irritating to me. But it has to be done, and
she's woman.
It has to be done because if your dog already knows exactly what's coming, which we want. So some people use a cue, some people just rely on the routine. We do both. We want the dog knowing what exercise it is. That gives us an advantage. However, it has to be managed, otherwise you have some problems in your buildup. So with his dog, if his dog's anticipating the buildup, he tends to stalk in the healing and become really concentrated. So you'll see him in the video doing things like a right turn, barking, doing something other than the command to make sure that the dog is considering other options as well, while still knowing that he's in the sit exercise. My dog tends to actually technically start to want to do the command early. So with the stand, he wants to do that little pop up early. And I use a contact to make him stay in that same technical rhythm until I ask him for the command.
Yes, and every dog is a little different, so reading your dog's emotion, drive level is super important. Like you can understand what affects, for example, the reaction on your command. So when you give the command sit or down, not only that, oh, maybe I have to use the correction for the sit because it was slow, but you also need to think, hey, what's happening in my healing before prior to the sit, or what's happening in my healing before the down or stand. So you need to open your eyes a little bit more and look the whole picture instead of just the reaction of the command, because the actual, in my opinion, the more important factor is what emotion the dog is in when you give that command.
Huge. When I first started training with you, I was kind of amazed that almost every time somebody came to the field with a problem, like a sit or a down, okay, yeah, you did look at it from the actual sit, down, or stand, but you put so much emphasis on what was happening before that. Because if what was happening before that was poor emotion, lazy healing, then there's almost no possible way you're going to get a beautiful sit down or stand unless you're putting a lot of pressure on the dog, which is pointed. It's just not going to happen. So making sure that your build up prior to that is flawless and in the perfect spot that allows you to get the best out of your dog is huge.
Yes. And also when you mentioned that using like a correction, for example, for sit and down and stand, it can affect on your healing, you know, like especially if you use the correction of those exercises, maybe your dog goes emotionally a little bit lower in healing, and that again can affect on your dog's reaction on the command.
So in trying to get your motion faster with correction, you can actually make it slower because your healing emotion can go
exactly down. Because you make your dog reactive. Your dog can react on the correction,
right,
but your dog doesn't actually want to do it fast because the activity level is low. So that's why it's important that there is always this activity level, the drive, the motivation. The dog really wants to do that exercise fast. The correction is more like the help to show the timing and get the dog to do that with the right technique, not so much the reason. If it's the reason, then it's easily the dog's behavior is reactive, and we want that our dog's behavior is always active.
Right, active, not reactive. So in giving you guys a little video about build-ups, he gave you some key pointers in your motions as well. So what you're going to see in the video is us working build-up after build-up, only doing the command every once in a while, and hope you guys get something out of it. Good.
Ai, hyvä. Hienosti. Hyvä. Puss! Puss! Yeah!
Perfect timing on that. That was better, buddy. Contact.